Hey yo, what's up? This is Nick, coach of Cerulean City Psyducks, again, doing another commentary this week. This battle is also not mine. It's between the Burned Tower Goomys and the Lavender Town Lillipups. So we got Amber versus Dan for this fight, and we start off with the Grapist. He's gonna tie you to the radiator and he's gonna grape you in the mouth, versus Magician's Red, which is Dan's kind of favorite lead. He likes to lead with his big dick move, possibly scaring things out, and does the U-turn, which does pretty much nothing, but he does like to scarf that Darmanitan like every single battle. And then comes Paul, the slow bro, to eat that earthquake. Paul. I wonder if Paul has a story behind the name. Seems a bit plain, since, I mean, especially going up something against like called the Grapist, and you're just called Paul. That's a pretty boring name, but whatever. Withdraws the Grapist for No Boy Allowed. The Toxapex, which this thing has been doing work so far this season. Its Regenerator is insanely good, and then just really good bulk too. She's been doing a really good job with this Toxapex. So good job, Amber. You're doing very well with this stall team. So she switches out No Boy Allowed for a Rule 34. The Gardevoir. Shiny Gardevoir. And fucking this. I love this. Picks up Regenerator with its traceability. Like, that's hardcore. So like she has a Regenerator core with Tangrowth and Toxapex. And then copying Slowbro's Regenerator means she has like 3 Regenerators essentially, so very nice. And then comes Weather Report, the Volcanion, and the full para kind of sucks, but what can you do about it? She withdraws Rule 34 and brings in Head Hands, the Hydreigon, to block the Earth Power, so hell of a predict right there. Good job, Amber. And then Earth Power going the opposite direction out of Head Hands. Does some nice damage, and a Sludge Wave comes out, which is still going to do some decent damage, but probably not quite as much as he was hoping for. But for Amber, this is apparently just enough for the devastating Drake to come out here, which is probably a Z... Oh no, it's Black Hole Eclipse. Huh, so Z... Dark Pulse, maybe? Probably? This is a cool animation. These Z-move animations are all pretty slick. And it's not enough to pick up the kill, though, which does kind of suck. Leaves him with 7 HP, which isn't much, but it's not dead, which I'm sure is what she was hoping for. I think she thought she got just enough damage, but not quite. Now we have Cinderella come in. The shiny Florges. Florger? Yeah, I don't know what his name is. And that's a crit, so that's pretty good. Good job, Head Hands. You're like flappy tentacle arm things. Oh, I guess they're wings. It's a dragon. No, tentacle arms. It's a dragon. It's got wings. So No Boy Allowed comes out, so her wall to take on a special wall that Dan has, and not a whole lot of damage, and that was with a crit, but does drop the special attack, which is good, because that's all that Toxapex really has is special attacks. It's not really much of an attacker. I know it can get some physical attacks like Poison Jab and stuff, but you don't want all that. And the Wish coming out from Flurges, and then gets Toxic, which is pretty key to dealing with walls like this, so good job, Amber. Smart moves. Getting that toxic poison out on a wall to limit its lifespan. But this Wish is up right now, so I don't remember if Fleur just stays in or if it switches out. Switches out, so brings in Weather Report, which makes sense, wants to Wish heal him. And Amber also went for the withdrawal, so she could have picked up a KO if she was more confident that she could stay in, but doesn't happen. Weather Report gets that Wish all the way back up to just over half health. And a Draco Meteor comes out, which I don't know if this can kill. I mean, the Z Dark didn't kill it. Oh, 6 health. It was 7 before, and now it's 6. And this Sludge Wave will be enough to KO Head Hands, so Hydreigon, you tried so hard, but just couldn't do quite enough damage. Now we have Eraserhead, the anime dad, who comes out and he's going to scare away that weather report. And Cinderella comes back out with her poison, her toxic poison, and a Dark Pulse, so a special attacking Greninja isn't going to do too much against Florges. So Amber will probably switch out here because she does not want to lose her Ash Greninja because the thing is very valuable. Hey, and there goes Eraserhead, the anime dad. And the Grapist returns with all his grapey goodness. And takes a big old Moonblast to the face, which does some very nice damage. And then Cinderella gets some heals. Grapist gets some heals off of his toxic poison. This is a very fun thing with poison heal. And Cinderella now leaves, understandably. She won't outspeed and can probably die to a physical attack from him. And Paul comes back out, but the Stealth Rock setup was there, so Amber's trying to slow down the opposition a little bit here and gets a nice big chunk of health from Poison Heal. And definitely wants to leave because she knows this Slowbro is rocking some Ice Beam. And Rule 34 returns. And again, Trace's Regenerator, so just so good. That's just so good. I love it so much. And it does a nice chunk of damage, and that's another crit. I think that is the third crit this fight. Very critful. And with her Choice Scarf, does a nice big old chunk of damage. He goes for the Psyshock, which I guess it does more damage. Not very effective, but it is stab and just a better attack in general, so makes a bit of sense. But I'm pretty sure Paul leaves here. Yes, he does, because he will not be able to survive another attack, most likely. Hi, Kyo. That's my cat. You might hear meowing. Maybe not. If you have the volume turned up really high. Can you hear the meow? Oh, look, he meows. You'll have to turn it. I don't think it'll be loud enough for you to hear it. But Spooky Boy's in now. The shiny Gengar, which shiny Gengar looks almost identical to normal Gengar, unless you go Mega, then he turns white. And a Sludge Wave comes out and does some fat stacks of damage to that Greninja. And the Dark Pulse comes out, and since there was Stealth Rocks up, that is a KO because Focus Sash that is usually run on Gengar would have been broken. And now he gets to go Ash Greninja. So big time Eraserhead, which makes him very dangerous. I think he gets another like 13 points or something into speed. Base speed makes him just ridiculously fast. And now Cinderella is back, and Eraserhead is gonna leave because I'm pretty sure Amber knows she cannot KO that thing. And No Boy Allowed, of course, comes right back in to block this thing. And the Defog, getting rid of the hazards, because I'm sure that Dan does not want to have those sitting up in his face. And hurt by that poison some more. So it's currently 2-1, Amber's ahead. And there we go, we get an Aromatherapy to cure poison. And then a Scald comes out. Not much damage, but I mean, it's pretty much all that she can really do with Toxapex. I mean, especially you're against a special wall, so you really can't do much. And a Wish comes up. I don't know if it's for itself or if it's going to pass it off, but it is toxic yet again. So Amber just trying to make sure that she can chip down that wall as much as possible. Slowly but surely, that's kind of how the Regenerator team works, is you slowly chip down and beat away at the other team while you just keep regenerating health. And Dan goes for the Aromatherapy once again to get rid of that toxic poison, as he really does not want to lose his special wall. That is 2 times that it's cured itself, and it's still, it takes that Wish to come back and has its leftovers, so back to full health again, which I'm sure Dan is very happy with. And Cinderella leaves now that it's full health. And Magician's Red comes in. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe Earthquake? But now he is toxic. So it doesn't really matter with him. You can probably take him down fairly easily. Just a couple attacks. But I don't think she wants to stay in for this. Yeah, no. Switches out and brings in the Grapist. And, yep, she did predict that Earthquake, so good call, Amber. But now, there is a turn for Amber to kind of get a free hit off, because Magician's Red is leaving. And Paul comes back in, of course, to try and set up those Stealth Rocks again. And Paul is just there to try and scare away Gliscor. A whole lot of healing going on, a lot of leftovers, a lot of wishes, a lot of regenerator, poison heal, whole lot of healing going on this fight. Not much life steal, but plenty of other things. Now Rule 34 is back once again and is going to trace regenerator once again. Just so much regenerators. Another Ice Beam, which we've seen before. This does pretty decent damage. But we also know that Slowbro does not want to stay in too long against Rule 34 because he cannot survive more than 2 attacks. And Cinderella comes back in once again the special wall and is going to take a bit of Stealth Rocks damage. And yeah, the Shadow Ball is going to come out and it's probably not going to do too much. Yeah, no. Not going to do much at all. So a lot of this fight is really just a battle between walls, is whose wall can stay healthy and take the most hits and maybe pick up a KO or 2 along the way. But now Amber switches it up and brings in Dennis, the Braviary, and Stealth Rocks are gone again. And the evasion drop does boost his attack with Defiant, so that is definitely not good for Dan. A very good call on Amber's side. So now that it's at a +1, this thing is very scary. And it does go for the Brave Bird, which will do a pretty nice chunk of damage. Yeah, ooh, very nice chunk of damage. It does take the recoil damage, but has some leftovers on it. So even more healing out of Amber's team, even though this is not, like, Braviary is not usually a stalling bulky type, but I guess when you're throwing substitutes like that, there is a reason. And that was a very good move to block that Thunder Wave. So healing a little bit with leftovers some more, and Paul is definitely still in KO range from a Brave Bird, and Dennis roosts right up because he wants to make sure that he has a lot of health so that he's not killing himself with these Brave Birds that he's obviously going to throw down. So Roost, substitute Brave Bird. He takes this Ice Beam to the substitute, and it does fade the substitute, but he's still at full health after healing up with Roost, so he is definitely in a place to kind of just spam attacks, but I guess she's going for the substitute again just to make sure. Not entirely sure why. She should have just gone for the attack, because the substitute, it was just going to fade again. I'm not entirely sure why she went for the other substitute, maybe thinking that she may have thought that Dan was going to switch out the Slowbro so as not to lose it, but he did stay in, and she goes for the same thing again. Like I said, I am assuming she is hoping he will switch out his Slowbro, but that's clearly not happening, so she's kind of just wasting turns here for some reason that I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe she's just trying to make predictions. I guess I can't mock too much. When I fought Dan, I thought he was going to switch out his Gligar when he had it, so I just kept going for Volt switches into it, which didn't work. But there goes another Brave Bird, and it is enough to KO Paul. She could have done that 2 turns ago, but she really wants to set up that substitute, which I can understand. This is a solid attacker. You don't want him to drop faster than he has to. And now Magician's Red comes in, which does make sense. I'm pretty sure Dan runs this thing scarfed every single week. So obviously Dennis has to switch because he will not be able to survive an attack with as low of health as he has. But no boy allowed. The wall comes back out and is going to take this Flare Blitz really well. Really doesn't do much damage relative to the power that can come out of Darmanitan. That's really not much damage. And he is still poisoned, so he's taking that toxic damage. And since he's scarfed in, he's definitely going to want to switch out. And in comes Cinderella once again. So we have this wall off. Keeps happening time and time again. So Amber goes for that Scald, just to try and get some damage out on this thing. You know, what she really needs to do is toxic it and keep it toxic and get rid of its leftovers, which I don't think she's able to do, but at this point Cinderella is kind of just going for some attacks. They're not doing much, but it is going to drop special attack, which does increase the amount of turns these two will have to face off for the Florges to die. So it is poisoned yet again, so there are 2 statuses out on Dan's team. We have 2 toxic poisons, and this is just a real slow but steady fight going on. So only 3 left on Dan's team, 2 of which have status, and Amber switches out again and brings in the Grapist, since he's pretty much back at full health, and pretty sure she guessed an aromatherapy was coming out to keep this Cinderella alive. So she kind of gets that free turn to switch in, and now is definitely scary. Dan is not really in a safe place right now because Grapist is at full health, and he can kind of just slam down some type of attack, probably an Earthquake. Ah, no. Dat Boy is the 3rd Pokemon. Gets that Stealth Rock set up. So, this Dat Boy, he is notorious for running a weakness policy. So that, especially with that multi-scale, he can take any super effective hit right to the face, and the damage is halved because of his ability. So as you can see there, that 4 times damage barely did anything, and sharply raises attack and special attack. So now a +1 speed Dragonite and a +3 physical attack. That is more than enough to just straight up destroy that Gliscor. He has good defenses, but not that good of defenses. But at a +1, he is not fast enough to outspeed Ash Greninja. So that Ice Beam comes out, and now that he no longer has the multi-scale, it is more than enough to KO the Dragon Boy. And Magician's Red comes out again. Gonna take a nice chunk of Stealth Rock's damage, and Ash Greninja can just Water Shuriken for that priority water move, and that is 1 hit, critical hit is enough to kill the Darmanitan. So now Dan is just left with Cinderella. So Amber's in a pretty good spot. She really doesn't have to worry too much. She can kind of just get out some damage with Greninja, not too much, but it's at least more than the leftovers is going to heal. And Eraserhead, Anime Dad will go down. Goodbye, Anime Dad. And there's those leftover heals again. So Amber can kind of do what she pleases here. Because, yeah, she definitely has a speed advantage, so she just brings in Dennis, goes for the Roost, understandably, just get some health back, and get ready to start attacking. So a Moonblast comes out, does a decent chunk of damage, but she's not in a KO range right now. Like, she's not afraid of being KO'd. Cinderella has gained all the health back that it lost from Water Shuriken. So Dennis can just go for the big old Brave Bee right here. Comes slamming down and she cuts Cinderella pretty deep, and that is the final KO. So Amber definitely has taken the stall and embraced it and used it very well so far this season. She's done a really good job using that stall, and that Braviary did a good chunk for her this fight. So it was a good fight. It was a long fight, many turns, long stall, but good one, and I'll see what you guys do in the coming weeks. So I'll see you next time.